Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Nothing Like a Good Book. And it's really nice to have you with my Rudolph. I tell you what, if anybody out there has ever had any radiation on your nose type scenario, you would know the pain I'm going through. But the show must go on, and I've got a wonderful guest. And that's why we're going to do this show regardless. But dedicated to authors is what Nothing Like a Good Book is all about. So what does that mean for you? Are you thinking of writing a book? Do you have a book written? Do you want to market a book? Do you want to, get it out there? Do you want to sell it? Do you want to promote it? We're all about this, but also educational. We've got all sorts of guests coming on the show, all sorts of people that are interesting to the publishing industry and that are going to be able to help you. But my very first guest is a special guest on this episode, a successful author in his own right, but he's really more known for his book editing, his coaching, and his guidance. He's a guru at this stuff. 5 decades, in fact. Daniel Roth has dedicated his career to one thing, and that's finding the story. Funny about that. Finding a story. That's interesting. So I'm thrilled to have him on Nothing Like a Good Book. So, Daniel, welcome to the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. It's great to be here. Very good.
Now, you've got quite a reputation, Daniel, but it's all good. Raised in the Big Apple. What were your hopes and dreams career-wise when you were growing up? Did you have any inklings like a fireman, policeman, soldier maybe, or a writer?
Well, the only thing that I have ever wanted to be in my life really is a writer. I grew up with that dream, and I've been dabbling and in and out in poetry and screenplays and books ever since. And there's really nothing else that I aspire to. And now I'm working as an editor and helping as many writers as possible. That's really what my goal is now. I want to.
Right. So you graduated from the University of Wisconsin, then on to Columbia, where you got your master's degree in English education and a bachelor's degree in English from the University of Wisconsin.
Yes.
There must have been an inkling right there at the beginning anyway.
Well, I was writing poetry in high school. I mean, it started pretty early for me. And in fact, I won a Student Scholastic Creative Writing Contest when I was a senior in high school, and that poem is published in a textbook on modern American poetry. So this was 1962. I mean, I'm an old guy, and this has been going on a long time.
No, as a matter of fact, you just had a birthday, so happy birthday for that. Let's quickly look at some background. Former publisher, Simon & Schuster, huge. VP of New Business Development at HarperCollins, huge. And script development executive at Revolution Studios. Now, you are an expert in evaluating manuscripts, shaping screenplays, and developing global resonant content. All right. Now, we'll come back on that. But 50 years of experience as a writer and editor. And you are known for blending editorial precision with a collaborative, creative approach. All right. So you're passionate, really, about helping stories reach their fullest expression. What would you say that your specialties are, Daniel?
Well, I concentrate on fiction, although I read lots of nonfiction. I think the heart of the matter for a fiction writer is what is the story about? What is the conflict about? How do you define? As a reader, what will make me want to read your book? I mean, that's the simplest question of all. And I think that the answer to that question lies in the tension between conflict and resolution. Because you need conflict, and you need the audience, the reader, needs to be engaged in that conflict. It has a vested interest in it successfully ending.
Right.
And that's the motivation that the reader needs to keep reading your book. Aside from the fact that they need to spend money on it, that's a motivation, and it shouldn't be overlooked.
Right. How many scripts would you say then that you've professionally read, over your career?
I was a script analyst quite a while in the beginning of my career, and I know because I counted them. I read over 1,000 scripts. And it's impossible for me to watch a movie now without being, an editor. I see holes in the story, but that's what I do. And I'm good at it. I work well with writers. I work with a passionate commitment to helping writers in any way that I can. I specialize in it is finding the story. That's really what I'm about, finding the story in a way that resonates for the reader. That's what it's all about.
Right. This shot here, I think, is you in Italy somewhere. You've done a lot of travel overseas, been to a lot of places, all sorts of places, Sahara Desert, beaches of Morocco. You've danced to guava music. Throughout your life of 62 years, it took you to write this particular book, which is called The Ordinary Life in 3 Acts. Now, these are poems by your good self, and it's taken you years, but they're all about your life and your experiences, right?
Yes. Yes, they are. I hope that in addition to that, someone once said that I was a poet of place. That's okay with me. Been called worse things in my life. I just want to help. I want to help bring books into being. That's really what I'm about.
Well, let's look at your career highlights, because if anybody's watching now and you're seriously needing a top editor and someone, it's more than editing.
Yes.
It's being able to get the best of your story to make sure the thing's going to sell.
Yeah. Yes.
So everybody can sit down and write a book. It's all very well, but there's tricks of the game and what to look for, how to look for. This is what he does. Looking at your career highlights, I mean, look at all the stuff that you've done. You're an expert in evaluating manuscripts, screenplays, developing globally resident content. Okay, we touched on that before. What does that mean in your terms?
The poems, I'll get back to that. The poems in my book are, yes, they are about place, and yes, they are about the experiences that I have had in many, many places all over the world. But the other thing that the poem is about, and this relates to the manuscripts, is I want to touch people in their heart. I want these. My hope is that some of these poems, and that's what I write whenever I inscribe a book. That's always what I say. I hope some of these poems will touch your heart.
Right.
So in addition to the world travel, in addition to meeting incredible people all over the world, I want people to be motivated. I want people to be moved. I want people to I don't know how else to say it. I want poetry to touch your heart. And that's what I mean by resonance.
Right.
So that's not what a movie script is about, but it resonance backs into credibility. You've got to have credibility in your script in order for people to continue reading it. The easiest thing in the world is to put down a book. I put down a book. I'll tell you a story. Can I tell you a brief story? I read a book. I read about a fellow whose name I cannot pronounce, who just won the Nobel Prize in Literature just 3 days ago. And I thought, okay, well, that's a pretty good recommendation.
Right.
And I bought a copy of it, and I read 20 pages of it, and I put it down. Now, that's shocking. I mean, anybody who's listening to this will say, well, what kind of editor are you? I couldn't read it. I just couldn't read it because it did not resonate. You've got to be able to find a way to touch.
What was it? Were all the tropes wrong, or what?
It was too condensed, too dense, too abstract. I really, if there is such a thing as a professional reader, I'm a professional reader. I could not read that book. And, it's a statement of fact. It has to do with resonance. You've got to be able to touch the reader in some way. Now, every reader is different. Every book is different. I understand that. But people have been telling stories around the campfire, long before there was a written word, long before there was anything known as a book. People have been telling stories since the beginning of, I don't know, it's the beginning of time. So I really don't know exactly. Nobody knows exactly. But stories are they're a human endeavor. They make us human. They
Yes,
really do.
very
Um,
much so. What I'm
and
showing here is the Fickle Gods of Publishing. This is your site, the website.
yes,
Folks, you can get hold of Daniel at ficklegodsofpublishing.com. But his book, The Ordinary Life in Three Acts, what the three acts are the different what age groups through your life or what?
yeah, yes, that's all they are. I divided. It was very arbitrary. I needed some organizing principle, and I don't know how I came up with it. There's a story. There's a more of a story. Ordinary life to me has a great resonance. Again, there's that word because I don't like puffery. I don't like things that are confusing because the writer wants to show off. The word that I use in my book and it's very important to me is reductive. I don't want you to impress me with your vocabulary, and I want you to tell me a story.
Right.
I want you to tell a story that I want to go along with you for the ride. And if you can't do that, if your writing does not do that, you're going to have a hard time getting people to finish the book. And that's really what it's all about.
Right.
Buy the book, read it, and tell all your friends.
Right. Well, the poems themselves reflect a joy, a curiosity, a love of what is best, most authentic in people, cultures all over the planet, and your love of the mysterious and the powerful erotic love poems. They're the icing on the cake in this particular book. Where can it be bought, by the way?
Well, as to the best of my knowledge, the only place it can be bought is on Amazon. And
Okay.
that's it. I have not wandered into the swamps of retail book selling. I just it's Amazon or nothing really, and that's okay. I've sold a couple of hundred copies, and I won't say I'm proud of the book because it's kind of self-indulgent, but I'm pleased with it. It reflects. If somebody wanted to know anything about me, they would know all about me after they read this. Somebody once told me a good friend of mine said that they thought it was too revealing, it was too intimate. And I took that as a compliment, actually. But
Right.
what can I do? I don't have any secrets. My life is it's all in that book. It really is.
Listen, you've had a very interesting career. I want to go back a little bit to where you wouldn't. It's ironic with our interview with this soundtrack we've got, but how did you become a pioneer in the audio publishing industry? It's a $1 billion industry now, audio publishing,
Yes.
and so on, audio books. But go back then, boy,
Yeah.
a pioneer. Where did that come from?
Good question. Well, a fellow that I knew, a friend of mine, hired me. He had an idea for what we called a magazette, which is simply a combination of two words, magazine and cassette. This was when cassettes were popular. This was in the 80s, and this was before CDs and before everything else. That's why I'm an old man. What can I say? But I feel great. But anyway, so he hired me, and we created something called the American Arts Project. And it was a monthly magazette, and I produced many shows with very prominent American artists.
Right.
uh, uh, at that time, another company was just coming into business called Newman Communications. They had a distribution deal with Walden, and they really broke open the market. And the big publishers noticed that this was a viable industry. And I don't remember, probably a year or two after I was at Newman, and did quite well. and acquired some amazing books because it was early. And Simon and Schuster and Random House and Bantam, they all saw a new industry and they jumped in. And the publisher at the time of Simon and Schuster Audio hired me as editorial director, and eventually I was promoted to publisher. The division, we won 2 Grammy Awards, and we were the most, on a percentage basis, we were the most profitable division within Simon & Schuster.
Really, and not only that, you won yourself a couple of. When you're moving on to the audio division, you won a couple of Grammy Awards. You and your team for Best Spoken Word.
Yes,
was the winner of 2 Grammys and also the African Academy Award for Best Documentary.
Well, that's a fast forward. That's a jump of roughly 30 years.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But yes, it's true. I won a doc. I have produced 2 movies. Make It Funky, which is about the music and the people,
right,
the culture of New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And then I directed and produced a show that I did in Africa, in Cape Town, actually in Khayelitsha, which is a township. If you're familiar with that term, those are the very down and out ghettos outside of Cape Town.
Right.
There's a school there called the School of Magic. I read about it in the New York Times, and I thought, what a great story. These kids come from nothing, and they travel to Las Vegas for the World Teenage Magic Championships. And I read this article in the New York Times, and I was just enthralled with the notion of that story, this journey that these kids made from Khayelitsha, from Cape Town, South Africa, to
right,
the theater, and it won an African Academy Award, and it didn't make a dime, and that's
didn't
why.
make a dime. Yeah, that's welcome to the industry. It's a pity I don't have a shot of the kids there or everything in Vegas. Maybe you've probably got one if you dig it out somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
You began to work as VP of New Business Development for the chairman, actually, of HarperCollins. It was a division of News Corp, right? What does that designation do in a big publishing house? We hear about these big publishing houses.
Yeah.
What is that? What do you do in a job?
Difficult. I mean, I can explain it. I came up with a phrase and a concept, the management and migration of copyright. That's me. And I thought, I work in this gigantic company that has all these different divisions, and they don't talk to one another. They don't interrelate. There's gold in them there hills, if you understand that expression.
Right.
I thought with the blessing of the chairman, I was able to travel between divisions to try to find material in one division and apply it to another division. And that had not been done, and it's still not really done. These, maybe it is now, I don't know, I'm not close to the industry anymore. But the divisions were very much like silos. They were very separate, they were very territorial, they were very protective, they had their own P&L, their own financial results that they had to do. So they didn't care what the other division did. Well, I did. I thought it was ridiculous that we have all these assets, and I tried to move away from in publishing. The final product is the book. In my mind, the final product is the copyright. How can we exploit the copyright in as many different mediums as this gigantic multi-billion-dollar company like News Corp, like Paramount, and that's what I tried to do. It was very difficult. It was not a lot of fun.
Oh, very hard indeed. But look, you're one of the best at what you do. That's why I got you on the show, really, because, your working career going way back years, publishing and film and the film industry, which I'm involved in as well. So I appreciate the effort that goes in behind the scenes over 5 decades. But you have dedicated your career to one thing. You hang your hat on this one, right? And it's called Finding the Story. Briefly,
Yes.
explain that.
Yes. Well, every story is different, and especially if you're writing a book, there's going to be, I'm going to digress a little bit, but I'll get to your question. If you look at pretty much any book, at the back page, there is an acknowledgments page. And I urge every writer who sees this to read the acknowledgments page, because it includes a lot of people. There's a lot of people that go into the making of a book. And
very much so.
It's really important to understand that it's not just you sitting down to a computer and you're a genius and out pops the world's greatest book. It doesn't work like that. And I'm here to tell you that that's just not reality. Now, a lot of young writers, they're already accepting their Academy Award for the best movie script, and they haven't even written it. I mean, people get caught up in their own fantasies and their own wishes. Right. That's fine. That's okay. But the one word of advice I would give is don't give up and listen and find a good editor. Because I will say without a moment's hesitation that every serious writer needs a serious editor that they can trust, that they can listen to. I said this before, that writing a book is an act of ego. Submitting your book to an editor is an act of humility. They're very, very different activities. You really have to, the writer, you have to be willing to say, okay, give me some feedback. What works? What doesn't work? Does this work? Is the conflict sharp enough? And I always spend a time with my writers on the phone. I make no decisions. The decisions are not mine to make. I make suggestions. I ask a lot of questions, and the writer will take my comments and they'll do whatever it is they see fit.
Well, I was going to ask you, I've got some questions in a brief time to do them in, so I want to get through these if we can. But what makes a good book? How important is it to have an editor? You have covered that one. It's critical to have an editor, right? You've covered what makes a good book. There's no doubt about it. Yep. What is the suspension of disbelief?
Well, the simplest example I can give is that we accept the fact that Superman cannot fly.
Oh, well, he can.
But we accept it. I mean, we accept the fact that, sorry, getting confused. We accept the fact that he can fly, and so we suspend our disbelief. We don't go, oh, that's ridiculous. We accept it.
It's an automatic acceptance, right?
And that suspension of disbelief is critical in the telling of a story, because you need credibility. And the fastest way to lose, and this is true in movies too. I mean, I'm not so much anymore because they don't go to the movies a lot, but you walk out of a movie if it's just too stupid. You stop reading a book if it's just, as I said, I read Nobel Prize winning book. I read 20 pages. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to burn in hell for this. But I couldn't read it. I just couldn't read it.
Right.
I really felt guilty about that. I did for, not long, but said Nobel Prize and I can't understand a bloody word. What's wrong with me?
How does a writer know, Daniel, that his or her actual dialogue works?
Good question. The biggest mistake that I see in dialogue is that the writer doesn't often make distinctions between the way a person speaks. We all have different speech intonations, language. There is a music of the language. And if all your characters sound exactly the same, it doesn't work. You've got different people, different motivations, different psychology. So my suggestion to writers is have someone or you yourself read the dialogue out loud. Listen to it and listen to the differences, the different character. Not everyone speaks the same. And so the dialogue is really important. And I urge writers to listen to their own dialogue, have somebody else read it to you. And how does this sound to you?
All right. That's a big tip. Listen to your own dialogue, right? It's like almost reading in the mirror, looking in the mirror, rehearsing a script or something, you know?
Yeah.
What else do I want to ask? Oh, the implied relationship. We've touched on that.
Yeah.
Between the writer and the reader.
Yes.
If that isn't there, they'll shut the book in 20 pages, if that.
Don't tell anybody I did that, okay? All you writers out there, please don't tell anybody I closed the Nobel Prize-winning book. That's my secret, Mark. Between you and I and your thousands of
Yeah, right. So what kind of books do you read, Daniel, personally? Because, I mean, you know, you've got a stack of them all around you there.
I do. I have tons of books. I'm constantly, if I'm not reading a manuscript for work, I'm always reading. I'm partial to intelligent books that have to do with espionage, thriller, detective, murder.
Thrillers, yeah.
Yeah, those are the kinds of books that I enjoy. I think this is probably true for everybody, but don't insult me with stupidity. I am not patient with stupidity, and make me think. Give me something to bite into. Give me something that has some.
That way. I don't know if you can do it or not. People can contact you with this email address if they'd like to write to you, talk to you, whether it's to have a crack at you or whether it's to say, look, I could really do with some help.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's an expert at. That's what he's a guru at. And you want to be able to sell your book. So make sure you got it right. He's Daniel Roth, 2025 at gmail.com. I'll leave it up. We touched on that. What's the name of the book that you read just recently?
The one that I'm reading now? Well,
off you go.
This is the one I'm reading now. It's quite good, actually.
Reluctant Sheriff. Oh, okay.
I like books. I said before, somebody called my poetry a place. I'm very intrigued by books that take me to different places, the places that I don't know that I'm interested in. And so I like to read books from all over the world. And that includes Appalachia, which is where this book is set. Show me something new. Tell me something I don't know. I want to go to different places.
That's the beauty of reading, and it's also the beauty of audio. It's the theater of the mind.
Yep.
Someone sits down with a book. I wonder what the percentage is of those that are reading that book are visualizing what the actual author visualized when he wrote or she wrote the book.
Well, obviously, it's a good question. There's no real way to know the answer.
That's right.
I would think.
But it's got to take you there. That's the relationship, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, that's what's important. All right. Last question to you. What's a worthy adversary to you? Why?
A worthy adversary.
Adversary, I'm sorry. And why is that important?
Well, a worthy adversary it really goes back full circle to the first question, which is what makes a good story. The answer to that, as I said, is conflict and resolution. Mm-hmm. So in the conflict part, you need to have there's somebody who's trying to get something done. Somebody is trying to accomplish something. It may be very difficult, but somebody's trying to get something accomplished.
Right.
And the adversary is trying to prevent that person from getting it accomplished. So it's a simple example would be a heavyweight boxing match. I mean, you want two guys in there who are basically the same size. You don't want a heavyweight fighting against a welterweight because it's just not, that's not a worthy adversary.
Right.
You've got to have somebody who can stand toe to toe with your protagonist, with your hero, and duke it out, because that's what the reader wants. That's the conflict that drives the story forward, and theoretically,
makes the thing.
there will be.
It's got to be read. Daniel Roth, been around for years, an expert. His company is the Fickle Gods of Publishing, which we've had up a lot. Specialties are editing, writing, documentary films, collaboration, motivation, and storytelling. The key is the man looks for the story. If there isn't any story there, you've got to find the story.
Yes.
So when it comes to writing, whether you're just starting out and you want to be on the right track 100%, then I would suggest that you go to this site. Okay, the Fickle God, what does that tell you alone? The Fickle Gods of Publishing.com. You can get hold of him there, or you can email him directly. It's up to you.
Yes.
And Daniel Roth 2025 at gmail.com. So the deal is, my friend, it's been very interesting speaking with you. I wish you luck with what you're launching there, coming out of retirement to do what you want to do, because, well, you've been doing it for a year now and you've had a lot of students. They're very happy. But if anybody wants to contact you, that's what they do there. And you can help them out, right? Anything they need.
As I said to you, I am at a point in my life where I want to help. That's really the most important thing. And I'll stick my neck out and I will say that every serious writer, as opposed to unserious, every serious writer knows that at some point they need an editor. And it's not, I've had writers who go, oh, I don't need any help. Well, you know what? You do.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean, think of it, if you wanted to be a carpenter, and you would do well to learn from a master carpenter, because they know what they've been doing it for 50 years. Well, guess what? I've been doing this for 50 years, and I know more than most people, everybody.
You know more in your left hand than what they've, done all right. Daniel, gotta go. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for being on Nothing Like a Good Book.
Thank you, Mark.
And
good
luck in your sales, too, of your particular book. But yours is a little different here. A great career, wonderful career. And thanks for sharing with what you have today, okay?
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. So let's go to this one, because this is what we're about: discovering your book, promoting your book, and also selling your book. And the way I do it is I try to, a few days before we do, the interview, I like to test out, because everybody lives in different parts of the country. Sometimes the reception is so bad. Other times it's brilliant. 9 times out of 10, it's brilliant. But I get a bad one occasionally, and it's better to check it out a few days in advance. We had it perfect. I don't know why this went today, but it did. But never mind. I hope by the time we edit it all up, it'll be pretty good. Thanks for being with us. I appreciate it. Please, subscribe to the show. Tell other people about it. I like to help authors. Okay. There's a lot of scams out there, a lot of bad people doing bad things to people who don't know. You're not going to get that here. I'm as transactional, what he said, as much as you want. You can see straight through it. I don't charge too much, and you get a lot for it, believe me. So, and I work with good people. So keep that in mind. Nothing Like a Good Book. And you can see the shows on YouTube and also all over the place. They're distributed as well as video, audio. Okay. So in the meantime, it's been an absolute pleasure. And I really do hope that you'll come back for another episode.